So I want to welcome everybody tonight. We're going to start here right pretty as close to 6 at 6:01, but we'll start, pretty close to 6. We have a lot of information to cover tonight. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Patty Schramm. I'm the Parent Resource Coordinator Trainer for the SALT series. And we're currently going through this month. We're looking at what happens when that bus no longer stops, meaning a school bus, and it no longer stops in front of your house. What kind of plans or what are you doing to plan for the future? So we were kind of looking at the roadmap of transition this whole month. And so our last session here tonight is, post-secondary. What are you looking at for post-secondary? Are you tying it into your IEPs and thinking about these post-secondary educations? So tonight we have 3 people here, 3 representatives from different schools in the Southwest Ohio, general area. And I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves as we go through and they can tell a little bit about each of them and their program. If you have any questions while we're going through this, feel free to put them in the chat box. And then we'll answer them as we go as best we can. And we'll also at the very end open it up for any questions if you don't feel comfortable, typing it into the chat box. So with that, I didn't ask this before, but was there anybody that would like to go first? If not, okay, Sadie, and
I can go.
Sure, it doesn't matter, but I'm happy to go first, whatever you guys want.
Okay. We can start with Sadie and go to Ashlee and then end with Tristan. Is that all right? Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Sadie then, and I'll let you introduce yourself and go ahead and do your presentation for your program.
Thank you. So I'm Sadie Everett, and I'm the Community Relations Manager for Advancement and Transition Services at the University of Cincinnati. And I'm going to pull up my presentation here in a second. But basically, my role as Community Relations Manager, I work across all 3 of our programs. I'm going to talk mostly tonight about the Transition and Access program, which is also nicknamed TAP. And that is our post-secondary, inclusive post-secondary education program for young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And I'm going to touch on our 2 other programs that we have that are housed in ATS. But before I start, I thought I would show a little video, but let me share my screen. Let's see. Okay. Oops, started on the wrong thing here. Okay, and I'm just going to show you a little video that gives a nice glimpse of what it would be like to be a TAP student at UC. And there's some nice shots of our campus, and you get to hear a little bit from a few students too.
I'm a senior in the Transition and Access program. This program has taught me independent living skills and job skills and providing me with great interns.
Go to the rec center. I like to go to On the Green and Starbucks.
One week I actually walked 106 miles, 11,861 steps per day. These past
thing that I like most about UC is that the people who are around me, among those people who are around me, I have people who believe in me. My name is Reagan Connors. I am from Mason, Ohio.
Okay, let me see if I'm savvy enough to get to my PowerPoint now. Okay. Are you guys seeing that? I hope. I can't see anybody when I share my screen. Okay, so University of Cincinnati Transition and Access Program. So we are part of a very large university. We have been named among the best national universities, according to US News and World Report. So that's a good accolade. And, you know, something that we do as a university and we do as a program is that we combine education and real world experience. Just some UC fast facts. So I should have checked the actual number. It wasn't out a few weeks ago when I made this, when I updated this PowerPoint, but undergraduate, we're right around 36,000. We have 418 degree programs and our average class sizes are 19. So where TAP fits into the University of Cincinnati. As I said before, that we're a part of Advancement and Transition Services, and where ATS fits is within the College of Education, Criminal Justice and Human Services and IT, and then even further within the School of Education. And we have 3 programs in ATS. So we have the Collaboration for Employment and Education Synergy, which we call CEAS. We have the Transition and Access Program, TAP, and then we also have Impact Innovation. Just real briefly, I'll touch on CEAS and Impact real quickly for you guys. So CEAS is a high school transition program where we partner with 12 districts in the area to provide internship experience and curriculum around self-determination, social skills development, and vocational skills development. So we partner with about 12, maybe 13 districts now in the area, and 60 students, roughly 60 students, come to campus over 12 weeks. So students come to campus 1 day a week and participate in an internship for a couple of hours on campus or near campus, and then they break for lunch on campus, and then have that classroom time around those skills development curriculum. And that is, like I said, 12 weeks. We have about 60 students in that program each year. And then we also do have a summer program for CEAS. So if you're on here tonight and you're exploring ideas of post-secondary education for your students, something that might be of interest to you is our summer program in CEAS. We had 2 kind of simultaneous programs this year. One was somewhat traditional CEAS program where it was internship experience and curriculum around skills building. And then we also had a STEM component. So kind of 2 tracks, one more in STEM career pathway development, and the other in more of a traditional career exploration and internship experience. Also something, if your students are still in high school and CEAS is not a part of your programming, it might be of something of interest that you could talk to your administration about. And if that is something of interest, I have my contact information here at the end. So we can follow up with you on that. The other program we have is Impact Innovation, and it is an adult day program for adults who have very complex needs related to autism and or behavior, communication, and sensory challenges. This is a year-round program. It meets from 9 to 3 every day. The big focus in this program, or the few areas of focus, are health and wellness, lifelong learning, and again, vocational skills development. Vocation looks a lot different in Impact Innovation because the adults in this program, their skills really vary. So we might have some individuals who are in paid employment, which we do, but then we have some people in this program who are just acquiring those skills, just learning those skills. So for example, somebody might be rolling silverware or sorting things or organizing different products or packaging, things like that, just kind of gaining some skills right there in our office. And then the hope would be the next step would be to be performing those skills in a workplace setting. But like I said, we have kind of a variety of skill level in that program. So some people are in paid employment positions, and then others are just working towards that, or really even exploring to see if employment is something that they want to do. What else about impact? So that is, we have about 20, I think we have 25 adults in that program right now. We do have transportation from their homes to campus and back every day. And yeah, it's a pretty fun program. Okay, and now we'll get into, our mission, vision, and core values of advancement and transition services. So our mission is to create meaningful, life-changing experiences for people with IDD through innovative research, education, and service. And we recently went through a strategic planning process that where we rewrote our vision and mission, and we rewrote our core values. And something really special about our core values is that each core value is attached to a story that one of us told, either about our work, or it might be a story that a student told, but all of our core values came from an actual story in our program. And our purpose, or we're trying to be intentional about making sure that our core values are reflected in our work every day. Okay, getting into our college. So like I said before, the Transition and Access program is part of ATS, and we are part of the College of Education and Criminal Justice and Human Services. And we're really lucky to be a part of that college because we're very intentional about promoting inclusion and really celebrating diversity. Okay, now the Transition and Access program.
Tristan, there's a few questions out there. Can I, do you want them now, or do you want to wait till the end of your?
I can do whatever you think is best.
Okay, so.
I can answer these real quickly.
Can you see them okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm assuming it's mostly Hamilton County. I'm assuming it's mostly Hamilton County Board of DD. I'm not sure about that, what that means.
For your day programming, I'm assuming they're all mostly from the county boards in the Cincinnati area, which would be Hamilton County. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do have some people from Butler County as well. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, the majority of the people in that program are from Hamilton County.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And something about impact innovation. So we love that program, but there is a wait list for impact, and it's a pretty deep wait list. So that's part of our strategic planning. It's part of our, it's part of our plan is to expand. But if you are interested in impact, my advice is to get in touch with me, and I will connect you with our director, and she'll explain more about what the process is and what our approach will be to expand in the future. But yeah, unfortunately, there is a pretty deep wait list right now for impact. How many years can someone be? Right now, we say it's a lifelong program. So we have had a couple of adults in that program where they got what they needed from impact and moved on to employment and some other community integrated programs. But we have had many we're not that old. We started this program, I think, in 2014. So maybe it was even 2015. So even 7 years, we still have, some of the same people in the program. We say it's lifelong, but we're gonna have to really think about that when when we all start getting old. I think we kind of joke and say, well, maybe the next thing will be a retirement community where we can also retire with everybody in impact. So let's see, what school districts? Oh, good question. I don't know them all off the top of my head, but Marymount, let's see, Mount Healthy, Fairfield. We've worked with Indian Hill in the past. We've worked with Milford in the past. What were you specifically wondering about a district? That was Carissa. Okay, I have the list somewhere. I just don't know it off the top of my head, but I'd be happy to share that later too.
I can upload it into our drive or something if you have a list that to put with your to put with your
Sure.
presentation. Oh, she says here she said
okay, yeah, we work with Fairfield. Yeah, so it's Eric Flagg is the intervention specialist. I know that we work with there. So definitely talk to them if your son or daughter already isn't involved. Yeah, that would be great. That's awesome. The years that they can go. Yes. Yes. So impact is lifelong, but we're not really sure what lifelong means. Right now, we have had a few people get what they wanted out of impact and move on to other things. But I was just joking that we really need to think about that because lifelong, and as we get older too, as we as staff in the program get older, maybe a retirement community might be in all of our future where we can all retire together. So I don't know, that might change over the years, but right now there's no set limit of time. Okay. All right. So back to the transition and access program. So it is one of the best college options for young adults with IDD. If you have not visited thinkcollege.net, and if you don't remember anything else from today's presentations, thinkcollege.net is the best resource to start your journey learning about post-secondary education options for your students. It is an amazing resource, and they have a search engine where you can pick cities and states and find the 300 plus programs like TAP in the nation. So definitely check thinkcollege.net out. So TAP is a residential program. Our students live on campus in the dorms. They live on the same floor with each other, and also they have roommates with other TAP students, but the floor is also intermixed with UC students from all over. So it is an inclusive setting. Freshmen and sophomores live in a kind of a traditional dorm setup where there's two people living in the room, and then they share a bathroom in between another set of two people in a room. And then as they are juniors and seniors, they move on to apartment style dorms. And I have a picture of actually the suite style, but the apartment style dorms would be junior and senior year. And even in senior year, we have had students decide they want to live off campus as well in apartments with friends. So that's kind of the residential piece. We do have co-op 2.0 opportunities. So co-ops are a really big thing at UC. And co-op 2.0 is basically, it's when you're in a co-op, and then you also have a course attached to that co-op to do a lot of reflection and also kind of have some support from your peers and a faculty member to get everything that you can out of your internship opportunity. TAP students receive a university recognized certificate upon completion of the program. So it's not a degree seeking program, it is a certificate program. So through advocacy, education, and research, we hope that our students are gaining skills to become independent members of the community, that they are enjoying a satisfying quality of life, and that as they transition to adulthood through supported as they transition to adulthood through supported evidence-based practices and education. And then all of our program curriculum and activities and I guess projection, you know, the program outcomes, they are leading to our students hopefully being able to make community connections, be independently living on their own or with friends, or even if it is in their own home, but have a more independent aspect of life, that they are going to be able to attain employment, that they're building healthy social relationships, that they become lifelong learners, and that they are self-determined adults. So those are our hopes for our students. Oops, there we go. So we like to say that our students live, work, learn, and lead on campus. I really already kind of touched on this. I always go rogue. I go rogue off my slides. So they live in inclusive housing. Did I touch all this? Oh yeah, they can enjoy all aspects of campus. They have rec center memberships. They have access to the UC shuttle. We go over community safety protocols. We travel train with them, whether it be using the shuttle, the bus, or Uber, that kind of thing. And then we also have life coaches to support students' goals. So our coaches are UC students. We hire across all of our programs about 80 student workers to support our students and participants in our programs. And what a life coach does is meets with a student once a week, and they work on goals. So I know that recently I was talking with one of our life coaches, and one student she was working with really wanted to become better at cooking. So they set the goal and the steps that would lead to making some more meals on their own. So it could be as simple as something like that. Or she said that one student said, I really want to figure out how to have a girlfriend. So that was the goal, and there's steps to take to reach that goal. So it's just like really any other typical student, but they are just supported in those steps and in that goal setting. Working. So I already talked a little bit about what Co-op 2.0 is, but our students participate in a minimum of 4 internships. So come sophomore year, they are placed in an internship based on their interests. And it's usually for about 10 hours a week, sophomore and junior year. And then by senior year, we're hoping that our students are working 20 hours a week. We also have students, UC students that are hired as job coaches, but in some of our settings, we also have natural supports that act as job coaches as well. And then throughout all of their time at UC and in TAB, they're creating a digital portfolio, easy for me to say, a digital portfolio to document their progress and their experiences at UC. So some of the career pathways that we've developed, and this is always changing because it changes based on our students' interests, but we've had a lot of students interested in childcare, horticulture, hospitality, customer service, office, clerical, those STEM-related careers, and theater and the arts. Okay, so here's a look at what Marion Spencer Hall looks like. This was where I was talking about the suite style rooms, where there's a 2-bedroom suite shared with a bathroom. And this brick building here in the middle, this is Marion Spencer. It's so pretty. And at the first level of Marion Spencer, there's this awesome dining hall right here called On the Green, but the nickname is OTG. And it's awesome. They have the best food, and it's such a pretty setting. So, and this is OTG right here too. And then this is Marion Spencer right here. Connected here, they're connected with the breezeway is Scioto. And this is the apartment style, what do you call it, dorms. And then next to even Scioto is another dorm called Morgan's, and that's also apartment style. So we usually have freshmen and sophomores living in Marion Spencer, and then juniors, seniors living in Scioto or Morgan's. All right, so now we're going to be talking a little bit about learning and leading. So TAP students are UC students first, so they do have they will take 96 credit hours over the 4 years. Students, they attend class independently. They can take courses for credit or audit. There are required study tables, and we also, again, hire UC students to be academic coaches just to make sure they are staying on top of what they need to do and that they know how to access Canvas, or they're getting things into their calendar. They understand what's expected of them from the syllabus and all those types of things. We've had some students pursue certificates in other UC programs, like pursuing an IT certificate. And our students will register with accessibility resources for accommodations. Something about the curriculum. So TAP students do take specialized courses just for TAP students. And those courses really hone in on developing those really important skills like building healthy relationships, daily living skills, executive functioning. So they have like an independent achievement course so that they can learn all those great skills to become more independent. And then students are also required to take at least one UC elective. And that elective can be anything that is open to any non-majors. But a lot of our students take an elective that aligns with their career goals. So we've had many students interested in early childhood education, wanting to be a teacher's aide. So all of their electives were early childhood courses, for example. But it's not, not every student's like that. Some people just like to take a basketball class, or one student took the social history of baseball. And the Hamilton class is really popular. So lots of options as far as the UC elective goes. So leaders, so our TAP students, we push them to be leaders. They have a TAP learning community where our upperclassmen really act as mentors to the lowerclassmen. And it's a time that they all come together one time a week. They have very busy schedules, but it's one time where all TAP students come together. And there are some activities and curriculum, but it really is just to build that community. We have peer mentors. So TAP students being mentors again to our lowerclassmen. That's not right. I'm getting tongue-tied now. And we've had many students are so active in different organizations. One of our students this year and last year, she plays the violin. So she's in the Medical Symphony Orchestra, and she applied to be a board member. And so she's a board member on the Medical Symphony Orchestra's organization, which is really cool. We've had students present at national and state conferences, and our best ambassadors for this program are TAP students. And I'm sorry no one could join me tonight. I usually try to get a student to do these things with me, but they are college students and sometimes they don't want to. So I'm on my own tonight, but they are great ambassadors for the program. These are just some examples of different student groups that our students have been a part of. This list of 10 or so doesn't even do it justice. There's so many clubs that are of interest to so many different students, and you name the interest and there's probably a club. Just a little look at our stats. So we have 26 students enrolled this year. About 40% are from Cincinnati, 70% from Ohio, and 30% are from out of state. All right, a little day in the life. Like I said earlier, they're very active students. This is just a snapshot of 1 week in a TAP student's life. So you can see it's packed. And yeah, they are busy. They're busy people. So our students are, like I said, they're gaining a lot of independent skills, but we know that in order for our students to be successful, it takes a circle of support, and family is right there at the top. And we have all of these different services and resources in place for our students so that they can be the best person that they want to be. Okay, so if you're ready to tap into your future, our ideal candidate, I probably should change this slide a little bit. I feel like saying our ideal candidate really wants to work on being self-directed and self-motivated, that they are pretty successful in inclusive environments. These are all skills that we want them to have some level of this skill, but we know that these skills, we're going to be working on them as they are progressing through the 4 years in TAP. So some of these skills would be to have a great start on these skills, but we expect them to be worked on as they grow and learn. So I'm going to have all my contact information at the end of this presentation, but we are accepting applications for the next school year, and the early action deadline is November 1st, and then regular decision is February 15th. Tuition, fees, and financial aid. So the cost for, which I will, Patty, I will send this information to. We just got the updated financial information, so I'll make sure I send that to you to upload. But the cost for TAP is roughly around $32,000 a year for housing and program fees and the UC elective course. We are CTP status, which means our students do have the ability to apply for financial aid. And I can include all that information separately. So this is just some stats about our TAP graduates. So as of 2021, actually I need to change that too. We have 36, oh, and it's 2022. Okay, sorry about that. We have 36 graduates since 2022. And these are about the right percentages, but about 86% are employed or continuing education. I think it might be actually a little bit higher. And 45%, I think that's a little bit higher too, but are living independently. So just a couple of quick little stories about our alumni. So Betsy, she's there in the picture. She lives in the Clifton community with her friends and works at the UC Early Learning Center. She's one of our students who is interested in early childhood education and is now working as a teacher's aide at the UC ELC. So Brennan, she was in the video before. She set a goal at the very beginning of her time at TAP to work in an office setting, and she now has a full-time job as a clerk at the UCPD, so the UC Police Division. And Alex, he had dreams to work at Disney, and after graduation, he's working where all your dreams come true. So yeah, that is TAP and ATS. I think there were maybe some questions in the chat.
I think there was one there. I think there's one you didn't answer from Jen. She just popped one in there.
Do I find this program to only be for ID? We open it up for intellectual and developmental disabilities. Are there any other questions?
I guess if no one else has any other questions, we'll have some time at the end that we'll open it up to as well. Or if you think of a question you want to ask somebody, just say this is for Sadie, this is for Tristan or Ashlee. You can identify and then ask your question also that way in the chat.
Yep.
So we'll if that's okay with everybody, we'll go ahead and move on to Ashlee. I think there we go.
I'm muted.
There you go.
Okay, let me try to share my screen here. New share. There we go. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Ashlee Leslie. I am one of the career advisors for the TOPS program. Not to be confused with TAP, but we are very similar to TAP. So a lot of what you heard from Sadie, our program has a lot of similarities. So it may be a little bit of double information, but it's still very important information. There are a lot of programs like ours in Ohio and throughout the country. And I will talk more about what my role entails in a little bit too. That's in the presentation. So a little bit of background of how just programs like this were created in general. So before 2008, before 2010, college wasn't really an option for some people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And there was funding authorized in 2008 as part of the Higher Education Opportunity Act that made this funding available for programs like ours to begin. So our program, the TOPS program, began in 2010. And other programs have developed since then. Like Sadie said, there's over 300 now. So this funding authorized transition programs for students with intellectual disabilities, otherwise known as TIPSID programs. And there have been 3 rounds of funding for those programs. This funding also established comprehensive transition programs, which was mentioned before as well. We currently have 8 programs in Ohio, and we have 1 launching in Cleveland, I believe, in the fall of 2023. So like it was mentioned before, the CTP program essentially is a requirement from the federal government. They provide guidance for us to, like we have to report to them. So this means our students are eligible for federal financial aid via FAFSA. Those would be things like work study, Pell Grants, and the Ohio College Opportunity Grant for Ohio residents. Typically, if a student is found eligible for the Pell Grant, they are also found eligible for the OCOG grant. But because we are not degree bearing, our families are not able to use student loans. We also, as I mentioned, we have to report things to the federal government, being one of these types of programs. So that establishes that our students have to maintain satisfactory academic progress and be participating in all the things expected of them as a student to the best of their ability. And then Think College is kind of the umbrella that all of our programs are housed under. That's a national organization that is dedicated to developing, expanding, and improving these inclusive higher education opportunities for people with intellectual disabilities. We also have to report data to them each year. So then we'll get into more details about our program. We currently have 23 students, 16 males and 7 females. 21 currently are in-state students, 2 out-of-state, and each student is very different, very unique. They all have different interests, skills, abilities, all of that. So sorry if you hear my dog in the background. And then our students are with us for 2 to 4 years. So we have 2 different program models where they can earn a 2-year or a 4-year workforce development certificate that is recognized by the university and is on their transcript. And then we're going to talk about the different pillars of our program. So we have academics, community involvement, career development, and self-determination. So for academics, we have 2 semesters per year that students are with us. We don't do programming typically over the summer. So they have 15 weeks per semester that they're in classes or engaging in internships, community involvement, and things like that. We do have sequences of courses that students take if they do have a specific career path in mind, but sometimes students come in with goals that we've never explored before. So we will work with them to explore that if and when that happens. Our students are in inclusive courses as part of the university course catalog. And then they are also in program level courses all 4 years that we call student learning communities that are taught by our staff, and that is only with our students. They typically take 4 credit hours per semester. So that's 1 program level course and 1 OSU course typically per semester. They can take more, it just costs more. And our students are able to take courses for credit. That's kind of like a team decision. That hasn't happened too often yet, but it's awesome that that's something that's available to our students now. For each pillar of the program, we'll talk about the supports that are available. So we have a full-time academic advisor that helps our students with their course selection, sequencing, and enrollment. They work to develop the student's plan of study and their transcript with the university. All students are going to have biweekly meetings with our staff members. So you'll hear that a few times. But for academics, they're going to be meeting about, their OSU class, what accommodations they may need, what supports they may need, how class is going in general, if anything needs to change, things like that. Our advisor will coordinate with the different faculty at the university to provide accommodations and modifications if needed to the curriculum. Our students are expected to participate in the class, complete the assignments, do what every other student at Ohio State is doing. But our academic advisor is there to provide that extra layer of support if a student needs any additional accommodations or modifications to be able to participate successfully in the course. And then we also have educational coaches that go to class with the student for their OSU courses. Sometimes after they're with us for a few semesters, they decide they'd like to try the class without a coach, and that's a team decision as well. So our educational coaches are Ohio State students. They're enrolled in an internship course called Disability Studies 5191. They go through training with our academic advisor to make sure that they have the skills and training necessary to deliver high quality classroom support to our students, to be able to not only support the student, but support the instructor and communicate with our advisor anything additional that may be needed. And they're there to provide those in-class supports and accommodations. So maybe things like taking notes, social prompting, modeling just what appropriate classroom behavior is like, helping with dates and deadlines, retention of content, etc. We also have what's called our productivity lab, where our students are assigned typically 2 to 3 days per week. It is like a tutoring center where they're able to come in and get help with things like homework, assignments, studying. They can also work on career development related goals. They can be doing business research, practicing interview questions. They can be researching and signing up for volunteer opportunities. And this is staffed by Ohio State student tutors as well. Next, we'll talk about campus membership. So our students are, they're paying tuition. They're Ohio State students, just like everybody else. So they're going to get an OSU ID number. They're going to get an OSU Buck ID. They're going to get an OSU email. All the things that our regular students are getting, our top students are going to get access to as well. So our students love going to the rec centers, getting involved in campus activities. They can utilize the same transportation supports. We do work a lot on email with them. And then they also are able to access dining plans. We also require our students to get back to the community and get involved. So they have to complete at least 25 hours per semester of community service. We have that. Sometimes we can chunk that into certain days. And sometimes students also will just seek out their own mission that's important to them, and they'll volunteer just doing that on their own. But we have supports in place to help them find those things and get opportunities set up if they need it. For all of the campus membership opportunities, we also have social coaches that can go to, if a student joins a club and they're nervous to go to a meeting for their first time, we can pair them with a student intern to go with them and just make sure they're feeling comfortable. They may or may not go to every meeting, but at least to help them get started. And same thing with the community service opportunities as well. And then we also, I got ahead of myself a little bit. So for our social and community involvement supports, we have a residential advisor, and this person will work with students on independent living skills, but also helps them with campus membership and social support. So the TOPS advisor creates the social calendars. We have TOPS specific social events that are supported by our social coaches. Our students sometimes plan those, and sometimes our advisor plans those, just depending on what students' interests are. The more time they're with us in the program, we like to challenge them to plan their own events and just kind of get some experience with that. And then we also provide support, if they want to create those events, or if they need some help with signing up for events or how to get there and things like that. And then our social coaches can be there again for one-on-one or small group activities. And they also just make sure that the students are feeling comfortable, that everybody's safe, that the events are organized, etc. For housing, we have a few options. The majority of our students live on or very close to campus right now, and we have a few that commute from home. We do have dorm space in Pennsylvania Place, which is about a 10-minute walk from our office. Our students are living with other top students, but there are other people in this dorm space as well. There's a residential advisor hired by Ohio State that would do what any residential advisor would do in any other dorm. So there's not like an extra level of RA support or a top staff member that's working at Pennsylvania Place. But we do have a great relationship with them, and our advisor works closely with their RA just to make sure that we're all on the same page and everybody's supported. We also have an apartment complex close by that has studio to 3-bedroom apartments that has a busing system to and from campus, which is really great. Only University Village residents can access that busing system, and it will drop our students off. There are 6 different stops around Ohio State's campus. And for both of these, there will be more information on the websites if you're interested in exploring those. Ohio State is huge, so something people ask about a lot is, how is my son or daughter going to even learn how to access this campus and get around? So we do travel training with them, and sometimes they do get lost, and that's part of life and learning. But we do have an emergency phone that they can contact if for some reason they do get lost and need some extra support. But initially, we provide some travel training to make sure that they know some key areas on campus. They know how to get to and from their classes and work. That if they're coming from home, that they know how to maybe get from wherever their parents are dropping them off to our office and some of those key locations. We help them sign up for accessible transit if they're interested. We have a campus bus and a city bus, so we can also help them with learning those if they need to or if they're interested. And then career services is my department. So we really try to personalize our career development experiences for our students. They all come in with different interests. So we work with them to kind of determine what their path is going to look like during their time with us. I can't say that any student has done the same career path or same trajectory of internship experiences throughout. And I think we've had like 30-something graduates. So it's different for every student. And if somebody comes in with an area they want to explore that we don't have a business relationship with or an internship placement for, then it's my job to try my best to develop that. So based on, what the students' career goals are, what they're interested in, what their skills are, but also I have to balance that with the labor market demands and the business need as well. So the students are my customer, but also the business is my customer. And when I'm trying to develop those relationships and create opportunities for our students participate in and utilize career exploration and research during their time with us, informational interviews and job shadows and other experiential learning opportunities. They participate in internships and student employment. Sometimes they're doing both at the same time. And they're also able to utilize Ohio State's career services resources as well. So we have a lot of like online resources. We have career fairs that our students are able to access, some student job boards, which is great. Here's a little bit more about what they may be doing during their time with us. And just to be cognizant of time, I'm sorry, I will try to speed up a little bit. But this is just kind of what each of those areas may look like during their time with us, with the goal typically being employment when they're finished. And these slides will be available, I believe, after the presentation for you all. Career advisors, so myself, I facilitate all of these experiences with our students and with employers. And I create new opportunities based on our students' interests. I develop training, coaching, and accommodation plans to teach students the tasks at the job. And I help with on-site training and support as needed, as well as we have job coaches that do that as well. We have, as you saw earlier, 20-something students. There are only 3 of us in career services. We are not allowed to hire or utilize interns or students to support our students on the job. It's an Ohio State rule. So we have to, be able to fade over time and help our students increase their independence while maintaining, some ongoing communication and support. 85% of our grads are working about 27 hours a week, making an average of $13.50 an hour. At various businesses at Ohio State and in our local community. Weaved into everything we do, we hope at the end, just like the TAP program, that our students are becoming more self-determined, well-rounded, independent adults. So we have advising meetings with them bi-weekly, but also throughout, we do one big team meeting at least per year where we're working on our goals and action steps. Costs, policies, and procedures. We have a summer orientation program. High school students are welcome to attend that if they're wanting to explore if Ohio State is a good fit for them. It's going to be in June. They live on campus for that. There are lots of ways to pay for TOPS. Most families do private pay, but there are also scholarships, federal financial aid, 529 plans. And then our fees are about, it's about $2,100 for Ohio State. Out of state students, it's going to be about $4,000 more per semester. So these are per semester. TOPS fee is $6,000 per semester. And then housing is about $3,700 per semester in the dorm. Meal plans are about $2,000 to $2,500 per semester. Our application is open, same deadlines as TAP, I believe, or they may be a little bit flipped, but our early action decision deadline is November 15th. Regular decisions are February 1st. So if you apply by November 15th, you will be interviewed and know whether you're in or not by December. And then if a student applies in February, they should know, I think, by late March, early April. So we recommend everybody apply for FAFSA if interested in any sort of post-secondary education program. There is a great training just to learn more about the difference between high school and college and what to expect out of college called Get Ready for College online training held by the Center on Transition. And then we also have a blog at u.osu.edu/tops. And those resources will be on the website as well. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Ashlee. Great information. I appreciate all the information that everybody's sharing tonight. It'll give us a good look at what to expect. when able, let's see, just if you can put your contact or who to contact information in the chat box, that would be
Sure.
helpful too. If anybody has any questions, following this presentation that they may want to, reach out to you directly or ask any further questions. So Tristan, I'm going to turn it over to you from Sinclair.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Tristan Chaput, and I'm with Sinclair Community College in Dayton, Ohio. So halfway between Cincinnati and Columbus. I'm going to get started with a short video. It's about 2 minutes, and then I'll get into the details of our program. But I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit about Sinclair with you all. And I am a faculty for the program, and I am also the program coordinator.
So Tartan Top students benefit from the program by having embedded supports. Students often have a difficult time figuring out, what do I do? Who do I see? So this program brings that support so that they don't feel overwhelmed with the process.
What I really love about the Tartan Tops program is that they help students who have developmental disabilities. I'm on the autism spectrum and I have ADHD, but that does not mean that I cannot go into a certain career field. The faculty and staff really care about their students. They are very willing to support whatever I want to do. We can schedule appointments with a tutor. They also help us with searching for a class that would benefit our major of what we want to go into, like something that we feel comfortable with, or maybe challenge us a little bit. They've been so helpful with all of that process and everything.
This program's a really good fit for any student who is looking to go to college but needs a little extra help. You have a community around you that supports you and is there for you throughout your entire time.
Going to Sinclair and going into the Tartan Tops program, it's just a very wonderful, welcoming environment. I don't feel discouraged because I know that the Tartan Tops program means inclusion.
It's a good launching pad for our students. We want them to get involved, get into the college life, as well as launch into employment here in our community.
We're starting to do internships so we can get some work experience in to go into the career field that we choose. I'm just really excited about it. I'm really glad that I was introduced to Tartan Tops, and I'm very grateful that I'm in the program right now. If I can do it, so can you.
So that was Sierra. She is one of our first graduates of the program. And we are really excited to kind of see her continue to blossom and where her journey will take her. But more about that shortly. So as I said, my name is Tristan Chaput, and I am the program coordinator and faculty for the Tartan Tops program at Sinclair Community College. Just a little bit about Sinclair. We were founded in 1887, and there are currently 5 locations in Dayton, Centerville, Englewood, Huber Heights, and Mason. For the purposes of our program at this point, students are only taking classes and receiving tutoring at the Dayton location or online. And that's specific to the Tartan Tops program. If students choose to take an elective at a different location, that is perfectly okay. People like going to Sinclair. 99% of Sinclair graduates rate the overall quality of Sinclair as good to excellent. And our college motto is find the need and endeavor to meet it. And that is the heart of what our program is. So like TAPS and TOPS, we are also a TOPS program. So I know it'll be a little confusing to keep all of the names straight. But for us, our program is tied into the mission of the overall college. So finding the need, what is our program? We are a pathway to education and career for folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Our program is unique in the sense that there are no program fees. Folks just pay for tuition and fees that are affiliated with their classes. And I'll get into those actual numbers in a little bit. We really focus on student strengths. We believe that every one of your students has been given many different gifts and lots of strengths. And we want to help them unpack those gifts and understand how their strengths can lead to careers that are in areas that they are passionate about. We have different paths based on student interests. We do have some relationships with the college as far as specific programs. We have relationships with our early childhood education program. They're actually working on a certificate for a teacher's assistant or teacher's aide. We have a relationship with our hospitality department, communication, and then our business information services. But what we have found is folks are really warm and engaging to us. And so we have the ability to build things out as we find new interests. Sinclair ID only, intellectual and developmental disabilities. Placement tests for our program participants are waived, and we do have a lounge for students. You saw it in the video, but we actually, because our program has grown so much over the last 18 months, we were given a new space on campus in Building 9, which also has accessible parking. Like the folks who have shared prior, we are members of the Ohio statewide consortium. So there are currently 10 programs like these in Ohio. And we mentioned Think College earlier in the night, thinkcollege.net. If you're interested in learning more about the Ohio specific programs, I encourage you to go to the Ohio Consortium website where you can really do a deep dive of the Ohio specific ones. So finding the need and endeavoring to meet it. TOP stands for Transition, Option, and Post-Secondary Education. We do have the CTP or Comprehensive Transition Program status. And as I said, we are an educational and career pathway for part-time students who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. Our program, all our classes are taken for credit. So students walk away with an academic transcript, and it culminates with an academic career readiness and training credential. So the certificate itself is actually a comprehensive transition program certificate. And then students can use the credits they've earned in our program towards other academic programs if they want to continue for an associate's degree or bachelor's degree or beyond. At this point in our program, we are completely split with what our graduates have done. We have we have 2 graduates so far. One is continuing on with their degree at Sinclair, moving towards an associate's, and the other loved his job. He started working during his time here, absolutely fell in love with his job, and said that he wanted to continue working and pick up actually more hours. We'll have 5 more graduates in December. And I think we'll also see a mix. We'll have the majority of them go straight into the workforce, but we do have at least 2 out of the 5 who will be continuing on at Sinclair for an associate's degree. So an example of our curriculum, in the first semester, students start with Life Skills 1. That is really College 101. How do I navigate campus? What are my college resources? How do I study? How do I take notes? How do I take a test? We also go over eLearn, which is our online learning system. We meet with all kinds of resources across the college. We talk about healthy habits. It's really an introductory to college course. And then we pair that with an interpersonal communications course. So the life skills course is taught by me. It is completely inclusive. So I, for the most part, do have students in the Tartan TOPS program, but we've had other students this semester included who aren't enrolled in our TOPS program taking that class. For the interpersonal communications class, that is taught by a faculty from the communication department. We reserve a certain number of seats in each class for the Tartan TOPS students, and the rest of the class is filled by typically enrolled folks. And that class is on a pass-fail scale. So students need to earn at least a 60% in order to pass the class. We don't offer any curriculum modification or anything like that. Those are college courses, but we can provide reasonable academic accommodations through our accessibility office. And you would meet with an accessibility counselor to talk about what those accommodations would be. In the second semester, we take Life Skills 2, which is a little deeper dive into careers. What are your options? What are your passions? What are your skills? What kind of opportunities are, if you want to stay in Ohio, especially in the Dayton region, what opportunities are here? Or are you willing to move? And what would that look like for you? And then we pair it with an elective. So that would be an early childhood class, a introduction to software applications class, so a deep dive into Microsoft Office, a hospitality class. For folks who get a C in the hospitality class, they actually walk away with an additional certificate. Or we can look at student-specific interests. So we've had students take criminal justice classes, history classes, art, theater, and others. The last 2 semesters are work skills classes and internships. Students can take 1 or 2 internships depending on their interests. We like to start them off at the college, and then if they're ready or interested in going out into the community for work, we encourage that. And the work skills classes are where they get to go to career fairs, learn about resume building, mock interviewing, how to interact with colleagues, how to accept feedback from your boss, how to advocate for yourself in the workplace, and things of that nature. Ultimately, at Sinclair, we like to say that the student is in the driver's seat, and they are more than welcome to take classes based on their personal interest. And while we encourage them to only take 2 classes per semester, we're open to the conversation if they'd like to take an additional class. So some of our program features, we have embedded tutoring and required academic courses. We have peer mentoring. Actually, some of our current students are peer mentors for our new students, but we do have other peer mentors from across the college. We offer academic accommodations through accessibility services, as well as career-focused counseling. We have lots of opportunities for students to be trained on assistive technology, such as our speech-to-text systems or other technologies. We offer internship experiences and then connections to Sinclair, local, state, and national resources. Some of our biggest partners are Montgomery County Board of Developmental Disabilities, but we also have strong relationships with Greene County, Butler County, and others. And then opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities. So today we had somebody on campus from the Disability Rights Ohio talking about OOD, but also monthly, we have somebody from OOD on our campus available for students. So like the other programs, our students are Sinclair students, so they get to take advantage of everything that Sinclair has to offer. They can participate in clubs and organizations, and we have some that are members of Chi Alpha, which is our Christian ministry, the Tartan Gamers, and other organizations, and campus life. So this year, some of the highlights have been our Performance Dogs of Ohio. A lot of our folks are very passionate about animals and enjoyed watching the dogs perform. Our art and theater, we've actually had students win tickets to our theater performances. Today, we also went to a Sinclair Talks event, which is where we hear from experts on various topics. Spring Fling, book clubs, Harvest Fest, Welcome Week, and so many other things. I think the great thing about Tartan Tops is folks are part of cohorts. So they start with a group of people and they have that natural chance for them to build friendship and connection with other Tartan Tops students. But because all of our classes are completely inclusive, they have lots of opportunities to interact with other students outside of the program as well. So person-centered planning is something else that we offered. Again, that is helping students understand their strengths, their goals, and how we can help them achieve their goals. Participants can be, I liked Ohio State, how they talked about the circle. Who is in their circle. We have our supports from Sinclair, but we also encourage our students to bring in the family, to bring in SSAs or other people from their circles of support, to make sure that we're all on the same page and helping that student move forward. And we also can assist with connecting the student to college services or those outside of the college to make sure that all transitions are successful. So a little bit about tuition and financial aid. I do need to update this slide. Students pay for tuition and fees only. That is about 6 credit hours per semester. And so it's $126 per credit hour for Montgomery County residents. I think in total, our program is less than $6,000 for the entire time. So it's 4 semesters. We go year round. I think we have one out-of-state student, and so their tuition is a little different, but total it's less than $6,000. We encourage folks to apply for FAFSA. That not only helps us understand if they are eligible for the Pell Grant. If you're eligible for the Pell Grant, our program is completely covered, including books for the most part. But the FAFSA also opens up other scholarship opportunities for students. We do have a Tartan Top specific scholarship, but there are also accessibility scholarships. Additionally, we've had students come with scholarships from career or tech prep institutes. So a lot of the times they'll have a BOGO scholarship or something of that nature. And then we've even had students come on AmeriCorps scholarships or others. So some additional fees to consider are books and other supplies, transportation, but we do encourage students to apply for grants through capabilities or work with DDS and OOD for transportation waivers. And then if they are in labs, because if they're taking a science or an art class or some of the hospitality classes. But for the most part, it's just that tuition that students have to cover. So the application process, so the Tartan Tops program itself has a specific application on our webpage. There are 2 links on that page. One is the application and one is the skills assessment. The skills assessment gives us a good idea of what supports that a student might need when they get to campus. The ETR, the evaluation team report, documentation such as an IEP 504 or something else. They would meet with the program director and they would meet with myself and they would then receive a decision. If they're accepted into the program, they can move forward with Sinclair's online application. If not, we give some recommendations as to things that the student can improve upon, and we encourage them to reapply. It's really important to us that when a student comes to campus, they feel prepared and empowered. And so some of those things are things that we encourage them to work on prior to arriving, just to make sure they start off strong. So these are some of our first graduates that we were really excited about in May. And as I said, we have 5 more completers scheduled for December. So I know you all have been given a lot of information tonight. So just a quick recap about Sinclair. We are a pathway for folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities that leads to education or careers. We hope to help people discover how their skills can lead to a job. They will be connected to other students at campus event through clubs and in class. And at the end of the day, we really believe in our students. We know that they have many strengths and we want to help them use their talents to achieve great things. I would love to speak with any family more about Tartan Tops. And so I have my email there. I've also put it in the chat box and I can put the Tartan Tops website in the chat box as well. And I'll grab the Ohio Statewide Consortium website so you have access to that. And I also encourage you, if you're interested in hearing more about the student experience at Sinclair, we currently have 2 episodes of our podcast out. Our student Sierra was very passionate about becoming a voiceover artist. And so she began our podcast as a way to continue to hone in on her skills. And so Sierra and I talked in her first semester, and then she started interviewing other students. I just uploaded to the website, it's waiting for approval, episode 3. So within the next couple of weeks, we'll have a 3rd episode up there as well. But it's just a really great way to hear from the students about what it's like to go to Sinclair. And then this is our contact information. But any questions for any of us?
Thank you for all that information. That was great from you, Tristan, and Sadie and Ashlee. Lots of information to think about. I would encourage visitations to the campuses just to get a good feel, get a good look, see what, see how just seeing the campus and being on campus, what it would seem like. And all the information, the videos and the podcast, all great information. And the Think College, that is also a great, wonderful website to tap into. We're going to go and address some of the questions, but I'm going to close the recording so we can just open it up for questions if anybody wants to be able to unmute, or we'll address the ones that are currently coming into the chat box. But I want to thank you guys as I close this recording. Just thank you for all the information you provided for us. So 1 second while I close that down, and then we'll get to the questions.